Namaste to all students. Myself JVN Dr. Khushbu Verma, Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science. Today we will discuss about amplifications of gene library, and this session is related to recombinant DNA technology of program BTech FBT and BSc BT 6th semester. So there are two procedures or two methods currently exist for amplifying the DNA or making copies. First is gene cloning or DNA cloning. It is defined as insertion of fragment of DNA representing a gene into a cloning vector and subsequent propagation of DNA molecule in a host organism like E. coli. Second procedure is PCR. It is technique for it. This is a technique for quickly cloning a particular piece of DNA in the test tube rather than in a living cells like E. coli, and in vitro method for amplification of DNA fragments. Here we can see the cell-based cloning method where this is the bacterial cell and it will be transformed with the recombinant vector which is having the gene of interest. Then multiplication or replication process will be occur and cell cultures produces the hundred of millions of new bacteria, and by this culture we can get the many copies of purified plasmid isolate from the lysate bacteria. Next procedure, which is polymerase chain reaction, which is PCR. Here we can see it is basically machine-based procedure and it is cell-free cloning method where there is no use of any kind of a cell of bacteria for the multiplication of the recombinant gene. And here we can see that original DNA to be replicated and DNA primer, nucleotides and PCR reaction has three process. First is denaturation at 94 to 96 degree temperature. Next is annealing. In this process, in the denaturation process, double stranded DNA will be separated from each other and will be single stranded. And in the annealing process, it is basically dependent on the melting temperature of primers which has been designed. So it is dependent on them. It can be 50 degree, it can be 60-degree temperature. It depends on basically primers melting temperature. So in this step, in annealing step, primers will bind to their complementary region into the single stranded DNA. Then next step is elongation process. In this process, now the NTPs will start to bind from the to the primer and will elongate and will make the new strand which is complementary to the parental single stranded DNA. Here is the all step which is explained in this diagram. This is double stranded DNA. First of all, denaturation process will occur, and in this reaction there will be a reaction mixture having the DNA molecule, DNA primer, nucleotides, buffers, tag DNA polymerase. All these ingredients will be having PCR tube. Then PCR machine will run, and first step will be the denaturation. Here DNA will be denatured and single stranded will generated. After the denaturation process, annealing process will start. Primer will attach to their complementary region in single stranded DNA. After that, elongation process will start and new strand will be formed. And this is the first cycle. And how many copies we need according to our need, we maintain the cycles of the PCR. If we need 35 times 30 to 35 times amplification of gene of interest, we will make sure that these three steps will be followed by 35 or 30 cycles. So according to our need, we need to standardize our protocol of PCR. Polymerase chain reaction is a laboratory technique for in vitro amplification of a specified DNA, a cell-free amplification technique for synthesizing multiple identical copies of DNA of interest. It is developed in 1984 by Carey Mullis. and he got the Nobel Prize in 1993. And it is a basic tool in molecular biology, and it is a kind of a photocopier, and basically it works as a photocopier in a molecular biology laboratory. Next one, we will discuss about the random primers, and these primers are used in the PCR machine. So random primers are a collection of chemically synthesized oligonucleotides of random sequences, usually hexamers. These are produced by the oligomerization of equal quantities of mixed A, G, C, and T residues, so that all possible hexameric sequences are represented. The hexamers bind throughout the length of the messenger RNA molecule, whatever complementary, resulting in internal priming of first cDNA strand instead of priming from the third end of the template. Random primers, however, create certain problems. For example, if one is interested in cDNA synthesis from poly A RNA, the product will be contaminated from cDNA synthesized from poly A RNA as well. cDNA clones derived from random priming of first strand cDNAs tend to be smaller than clones derived from the oligo-DT priming. The efficiency of priming varies from one messenger RNA to another depending on the size of messenger RNA and complexity and composition of the random primer pool. The primers have to be removed between first and second strand synthesis step, otherwise second strand synthesis will also initiate the random priming. Next one is the oligo-DT primer adapter or oligo-DT primer linker. For first cDNA strand synthesis, oligonucleotides such as oligo-DT primer adapter may also be employed. These primers consist of oligo-DT abundant at their 5' end with overhanging sequences that will support the addition of restriction enzyme sites or useful sequences on one end. The purpose of such primer adapter is directional cloning of double-stranded cDNA. Hence, such first cDNA strand synthesis is done in combination with second strand synthesis with a similar primer adapter having different restriction enzyme sites. Oligo-DT primer linker works on same principle for directional cloning. Next one is asymmetrically tailed plasmid, which is oligomerically tailed plasmid. Synthesis of the first strand is also primed from an oligo-DT tail covalently attached to one end of the linearized plasmid. This strategy allows direct and efficient cloning of cDNA into the vector. Being large in size, it is often not possible to incorporate enough oligomerically tailed plasmid in the reaction mixture to achieve a high primer template ratio. Next one is the primer used for second cDNA strand synthesis. So in order to obtain a molecule that is stable and can be manipulated, the cloned into a vector, the messenger RNA in the single-stranded cDNA messenger RNA hybrid need to be replaced with a cDNA strand of the same sequence. This second cDNA strand synthesis is covalently carried out by E. coli DNA polymerase 1, enzyme, reverse transcriptase, or T4 DNA polymerase. The thermostable DNA polymerase such as tag DNA polymerase can be also be used. And next one is the self-priming. So this strategy takes advantage of the tendency of reverse transcriptase to form a hairpin loop during the first cDNA strand synthesis, which is used as a primer for second cDNA strand synthesis. This hairpin loop is formed due to spontaneous intramolecular base pairing during reverse transcriptase reaction. This technique is advantageous because a single primer that is used for first cDNA strand synthesis is used to synthesize the second cDNA strand as well. This method leads to high yield of double-stranded cDNA. For cloning double-stranded cDNA into a suitable vector, hairpin loop is removed in a reaction catalyzed by S1 nuclease. As it is an uncontrolled reaction, there may be frequent loss of cDNA sequences corresponding to a 5' end of the messenger RNA. Next one is the RNA fragments generated by the RNase H treatment, which is replacement synthesis. So RNase H recognizes a single stranded cDNA messenger RNA hybrid and makes many nicks or gaps in the RNA strand. Many RNA fragments thus created along the length of the first cDNA strand provides free 3 OH groups to be used as primers for extension by polymerase. The reaction has three main advantages. First is the priming is very efficient. Second is such priming does not need any further treatment or purification. And third one is it eliminates the need of use S1 nuclease and hence is free from the disadvantages such as loss of cDNA sequences that results from the S1 nuclease treatment. Next is oligonucleotide priming. So it is in this method homopolymeric tail is added to 3' end of newly synthesized first cDNA strand. This tailing is done by exploiting the activity of terminal deoxynucleotide transferase, a template independent DNA polymerase from calf thymus in the presence of only single type of dNTP. And this oligo-daisy tail thus acts as an annealing site for a chemically synthesized complementary oligonucleotide primer. And in this method, once first strand is synthesized using oligo-DT primer adapter, a homopolymeric tail is added to its third end in a TDT catalyzed reaction in the presence of deoxy-CTP. The first cDNA strand synthesis oligo-DT anneals to poly-A tail and the adapter provides a recognition site for a restriction endonuclease. This oligo-DC tail provides complementary sequences for annealing for oligonucleotide primer. The messenger RNA strand in a single-stranded cDNA messenger RNA hybrid formed after first cDNA strand synthesis is subjected to alkali hydrolysis or denaturation. Next one is random priming. So similar to first cDNA strand synthesis by random primers, second cDNA strand synthesis by Klinar enzyme can also be primed by random primers. Random priming of second cDNA strand is done after alkalization of RNA in single-stranded cDNA messenger RNA hybrid. Random priming prevents third dash or 5' bias in the resulting library, but with this method, full-length cDNA is hardly obtained. This is the flow diagram where we can see the self-priming classical method of double-stranded DNA synthesis. Next one is enrichment method. The library is expected to contain cDNA for abundant messenger RNA, such as general housekeeping genes and for those genes whose expression is specific to the particular tissue. If cDNA encoding a specific protein is needed, it is wise to use a cDNA library from a tissue with a high quantity of RNA for that protein relative to other RNA. For example, in the chicken oviduct, messenger RNA encoding ovalbumin is superabundant. Hence, the starting population is naturally so enriched in ovalbumin messenger RNA. Next one is the construction of the eukaryotic cDNA libraries in expression vector. So, eukaryotic cDNA that encodes functional protein is cloned in particular type of expression vector. Most eukaryotic expression vectors are shuttle vectors that contain promoter to origin of replication, eukaryotic transcriptional and translation stop signals, a sequence that enables the polyadenylation of messenger RNA, two selectable markers genes, one for E. coli and another for the eukaryotic host cell. Last one is the cDNA libraries generated by the RT-PCR. So RT-PCR can be used to provide the cDNA for library construction when the source of messenger RNA is unsuitable for the conventional process or approaches. In this technique, instead of gene-specific primers, universal primers can be used. So this is the sum up of this session. And this session is powered by Digital Version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University Jaipur. Hope you are satisfied with this digital session. If you have any query, then mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you.